because DJ gave me permission to record since a few of us couldn't be on. And so I just would love to start with all of us taking a moment and really becoming present in this space together. And ooh, gosh, I get a little emotional. This is just really beautiful. It's a beautiful group. And geez.
Why are you so emotional?
Yeah, this work is really touching my heart, and the connection that we have with being able to have this kind of tool to connect with people, to connect with you guys, to connect people with the universe, with their own healing. And really, this is a time where we need to step out and be able to empower others to have this healing, you know, in our hands, in every home's hands. It's really important. And we have been, as a group, I'm just so honored to have every one of you here, because you guys are using this in ways that is really impacting on this amazing level. And so that's why I'm emotional, because I'm just honored to be here with everyone. And so just to take a minute to really to set the intention for what this is for, and for us, you know, empowering people to have a beautiful life on a physical, spiritual, emotional, mental level, and to be able to expand with this tool, to be able to use this in such a positive way. So are we all ready?
Come
on. Awesome.
Thank you for sharing your emotion, Dawn. That means everything too. Thank you. Thank you.
You know, I can't not share because it's coming through. So
just let it flow. It's beautiful.
Yeah. So thank you, Matt. I appreciate that. One thing I'm running right now is coherence, and I don't know if you guys were able to join the company. You know, Marcus Schmicke, the founder of Healy, gave us this program to really connect us with the universe, connect us with ourselves, and just each other, and that's really important right now. And so I don't know if you guys were able to join when they had a couple weeks ago, all around the world at the same time. Everybody got on coherence, and we had the same intention, and it was a beautiful experience. And you know, I just want to encourage you guys. I know they're going to do more of that, and so I encourage you to join us in that and really help heal this universe and each other. And so that stimulated a lot. I know many of you were here when Skandar was with us. He's since left, and he talked to us about he left this realm, but he is still working with us in other realms, and he really talked to us about raising the vibration of communities up. And I really, that is something that is really a passion of ours. And so I know for us, we're going to do just a local event here in the Eastern Sierra, where we connect with each other and really set an intention for what we want for this group, what we want for the Eastern Sierra. And I encourage you, if you live somewhere else, to start getting groups together and doing that, and just really starting in these small places to raise the vibration up. Uh-oh, is that me? Sorry.
If everybody could mute, it would eliminate the reverb.
Yeah, could everybody mute?
Other than you, Don.
Except for DJ. Okay. So anyway, that's something that we're really passionate about. And I don't know why I'm echoing. Sorry. Let me see. Let me mute. Okay. Are we good? There we go. I'm just muting the few people who weren't. Okay, so we're gonna jump in. At the end, after we love to share with everybody kind of different ways we're using the Healy. And one of those ways is, I don't know, I just like to explore. And I don't know about you guys, but the Healy is really showing the expansiveness of how we can use this. And one of the things that, it's gardening season right now, and I have the digital nutrition subscription, and I like to use the Healy not just with myself, but our house, our land, our animals. And so running the Healy, doing an assessment on our garden and running the digital nutrition for the soil in our garden. That's something that we're doing. We really love using the tool so that we can do it in all these different ways. And Brian, I know you wanted to share something with a direct way that you've been using it with DJ's programs. So if you want to unmute and share, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm kind of like a guinea pig sometimes. So about 6 months ago, when I first met Dawn, I was pretty much in an unhealthy state. I had like a lot of parasites in my body. And we were working on that back in the fall and the winter time, doing a lot of cleanses, some other things as well too. And a couple of weeks ago, we bought some of DJ's programs, and one of them was the parasite program. So Kristen, we asked Kristen to do a test on me and say, okay, how many parasites do you have right now in your body? And this is like a week ago. And she said, okay, we've tested you for 10 parasites still in your body. So we kind of came up with this little game plan, doing the parasite program in the morning, and then running some of the digital nutrition programs as well too. So I did the trace elements of the amino acid programs during the midday. And then I did the parasite program again at nighttime. And I hooked up with the bracelets to kind of get more of that energetic feeling as well too with the microcurrents. So we did that. And probably about after 4 days, Kristen tested me again. And I think it came up with 4 parasites left in my body. So 6 came out of my body within that time frame. And it was pretty amazing because it's not intrusive, it's just going through that energy field and through the Healy, the magic of the Healy. So it was pretty amazing going through that process. It was a lot easier than what I was doing before, going through all the cleanses and all these other things that were with the body. And I thought it was pretty amazing. And this kind of a segue into DJ. So we found DJ on the School of Frequency website months ago, actually. And I think Skandar purchased a couple of his programs and talked about those. And we decided to do the same thing as well, too. And in that process, we thought, hey, let's bring DJ onto this program with us, and talk about his programs. And I kind of want to send that to DJ right now. And the first question I have for him, because I was looking on his website, he talked about being in a jail in Bali for like a year. Most times when I think about Bali, I think about like these beautiful pictures, the Instagram thing, all this stuff. And yet, I hear of DJ's experience, and I want to send this to DJ and let him start with this about being in that jail and how that kind of began his quest on his journey through frequency therapy. So with that being said, I'll hand it to DJ and talk about that, about his story, about how he got here where he is today.
Thank you, man. What a great feedback that is, that my programs leave such a beautiful mark, have such a beautiful effect on people. I get many testimonials just like yours, that these frequencies really work, right? I might be the author of the programs, but this is the Nuno Nina's Gold Frequencies database with more than 841,000 frequencies, and that's actually the real magic. So I'm really humbled that I am able to write programs with it, but I want to give most of the credit to the database, and it's looking good. Yeah. But for most people who don't know me, I am now currently a osteopath in training. I'm a full-time holistic health practitioner. I focus with time waver and Healy. I'm definitely a time waver practitioner who's Healy orientated, because these two have a beautiful golden combo. You can have many sort of shortcuts to get to health. I hope we all can all agree that frequency is the future. And I hope for today's call, eventually I can talk a little bit about the future of frequency, because in the field of frequency, there is still so much phenomena we don't know yet, right? We are in the area of electromagnetism, to put it shortly, put it mildly, information field, but everything is electromagnetically charged. Our science came up, we know what magnetism is, we know what electricity is, but what the real phenomena actually entails, we still don't know. So there's still so much mystery, so much science we actually have to dive into. And the great thing about Healy is that we now, as normal people, simple people, we can discover it ourselves. So talking about my jail experience in Bali, which is like that is it was an experience, of course, hard to swallow. How did I get there? Is I lived on Bali for 3 years. I worked in a couple of health clinics. I had my own retreat center there. So also in that time I was a holistic practitioner. But the thing was, I come from Amsterdam. I like to smoke a joint every once in a while in Amsterdam. On Bali, I was completely free. But then this friend of mine from Amsterdam, he started to grow his own vitamin green, his own cannabis. And he decided to send me a nice birthday present to Bali, to my home address. So on my birthday, I received a package coming with a bunch of cups and a bunch of cameras, wanting to make this portrait of me of the biggest drug dealer ever known in the Indonesian history. And that was my battle. It was my battle, not just fighting for my life in jail, but also fighting for my freedom in a very corrupt system. So what that gave me was actually a blessing in disguise. I can only say now, 4 years later. First of all, it completely broke me down to nothing, and it put me in a space of complete oblivion. Talking about parasites, I took a lot of them with them in my body back home. I had some other traumatic events, of course, lots of violence. And yeah, it made me lose everything. But some people say you can only really find yourself if you lose yourself first. So eventually the result is that I'm now sitting here, and all I can do and all that is now flowing or channeling through me is my purpose. And yeah, I think that experience really contributed to that. So thank you for asking. The answer is how did you heal from this experience? The answer is frequency. I came back from jail with, let's say, 12 symptoms at least. Think about migraines, of course, depression, sleeping disorders, stomach ulcers, intestinal inflammation, parasites, and a few others. And when I eventually Healy came on my path, I instantly knew what to do. I had the benefit of knowing how to apply these frequencies and where to start for myself, because I'm a holistic practitioner. And it took away everything. Imagine that I had to buy supplements every month just to maintain my health and to suppress some inflammation. I had to go to a chiropractor. I was basically spending a Healy a year on these on my health. And when I found Healy, I was like, okay, I'm gonna skip it all. I'm not gonna do any of it anymore. And still till today, 2 years later, I'm still free of pain and new levels are opening. And the power of frequency and what we're doing here with Healy, it is more than frequency, I tell you. It is, it comes from such a pure source. And my job, because you can use Healy in so many different ways. You can use Time Waver in so many different ways. But I deal with a lot of people who want to know where to start, who want to know, they have an issue, they want to work on it. But where do you start? What is your where are your dysfunctions located? How do you build off those layers? So I am most of the time a detective, and I'm trying to figure out what is the key for this person to start with, and then the next steps. So my job is basically now is mostly focused on making people a detective for themselves. And I have some great tips for that. Also to increase, to improve Healy's use, and how to integrate the frequencies best. There are still some keys you can do next to Healy to make it even more effective. Yeah. Did that answer your question, my dear friend?
Yes, it did. So what are the things that interest you in the frequency healing? I mean, for example, it's like the astral travel frequency program that you have on there.
Yeah.
What are the things that you feel like are pushing the boundaries? I mean, because to me, I feel like the healing is an infinite thing. We're only limited by our mind and what we can do with the healing, essentially, with frequency. Yeah. So what are the things that do you think are essential in this quest? What are the things that you're exploring right now, I would say?
Yeah, so what I think is essential to understand, and Marcus Meekus says it himself, it's all about the information field. So Healy does two things. You can work with electricity. Right now, I'm also running the coherence program, of course. Coherence program is a very interesting program. I know the frequencies, what is in it and what it does. To put it shortly, what it does, and I think this is such a beautiful, fascinating thing, is that it takes you out of your normal patterning, right? We are more than our patterns that we carry with us, with our pitfalls and our blind spots. But coherence puts you in a space, even temporarily, out of that. So the healing that comes with it on the emotional, mental, spiritual level could be magnificent, absolutely groundbreaking for many people, because we're so tied to our patterns. I hope you understand what I'm saying. So as a Time Waver practitioner, I put it up there that's what the coherence program is about, from my opinion. But two things, right, of Healy is healthy electricity, that's the wires, and the other part is just the information field, the wireless use of Healy. Any program in the Pink app, you can use wireless. Soon with the Healy coil, it's just an amplifier. You can already use it wireless, but the Healy coil just amplifies it. The healthy electricity, here's the part. Many people think, and I've noticed it with many clients, they think that they always have to run programs electricity because that's something that they feel, that is something it's tangible, there's something running through your nerves, and it's sort of proven in that sense. And that's true. The most scientific facts or the studies that you find on microcurrent, this is the electricity story. But that's just the extra benefit. The electricity is like the whipped cream on your dessert. But even without whipped cream, it would be great. So the information field, together working with your consciousness and with your clear intent, that's where the most juice is you can get. So for all of you people out there, I invite you to, maybe for a while, because electricity still feels great, try to just apply wireless. And might be a world opening for you, because the subtleties will do things with your field, maybe even more profound than electricity can ever do to you. Another side note to this, because it's part of it, there is it is true that this electricity application, the pink app, wires, is not for everyone. If you find a person who is dehydrated, who is psoriatic, who has eczema, right, who has a dry skin, you will notice that they will have issues with applying programs through the pink app with wires. For them, just information field. That's already what I can tell you. So you keep it in your mind. There is a type of person, the Vata type. In mythology, it's called the ectomorphic type. They are most of the time they are tall. They're thin. They already have a dry skin of themselves. Their type is more dry, and they use more water, so to say. So drink a lot as you use this electricity.
Wow. You know, I love that you say use it without, because honestly, and I know Kristen, we talk about this a lot with people. I'd say 95% of the time I'm using the Healy, I'm not hooked up to wires. And then I know many of you guys that are on this, I encourage everyone to do remote sessions for people all the time, because I feel like the more remote sessions I've done for people, the more I've gotten an understanding of how amazing the Healy is working through the information field. And with many of these people on here who are practitioners who are helping a lot of people, this is a way for us to get out of just our community and be able to really help people all the way across the world through with using the Healy through the information field. So I love that you shared that. That's been a big question for everybody.
Absolutely. Another tip for the blue app, right? This is the pure information field. Good question. Like, you can set a time of how long you can vibrate something, right? So what is a good time to set? What is a good rhythm to set in? Is it standard better to vibrate it for 26 minutes, tops 12? You say it. There are many different opinions on it. But after some experience, I can say, and I feel free to play with it, it is better to apply a time of tops 1 minute 20, 4 to 5 times a day, compared to all at once 12 minute 40. Why? Because of the very simple reason that throughout the day we are not the same. Our bodies are on at 5 o'clock we have for instance at 5 a.m. in the morning we have the lungs being more active. At 3 a.m. in the morning it's the liver. Giving examples here that on different moments on the day, different energies, different frequencies, different moods, different motions are set in place at that time. So if you apply these frequencies 5 times a day for just a short period, you are sort of pushing your energy back towards balance every single time. And that's where you want to go. You want to go to that smooth wave of going with the flow, of where everything is in sync and coherent. And that works, I think, through the stimulation of a few moments on a day. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, can I ask a clarity question around that?
Yeah.
So when you recommend that the 5 times a day, so you're doing the because most everybody on here has the resonance, so you're doing an analysis on all programs and running that, or are you narrowing it down to the top one on all programs and running the vibration around that? And is it the same list 5 times a day, or are you doing a new analysis each time?
Good question. You can do a new analysis each time. Mm-hmm. That doesn't really matter. Of course, it's because the blue app is like going to an acupuncturist, and the pink app it's like going to a shiatsu masseuse. And you get a massage in the pink app, and in the blue app you get one needle, one frequency to one point, to one specific place where it's needed. It's super specific. And that is something you want to apply throughout the day. Good question on what lists shall you then vibrate. I think I should connect this to how I work with intuition, muscle testing, or a pendulum, right? To make yourself a good detective for what you really need. you want to sort of navigate your way through the many possibilities, right? You can analyze and scan so many things with the Blue app. It's almost confusing. It's almost too much. You can activate, do so many programs through the Pink app, but you can only do 3 a day. So where to go? How to do that? That's why working with the pendulum is, I believe, the final key for any person to work with the Healy effectively. Know how to work with the intuition field, so to say, through muscle testing, pendulum. Maybe your intuition is always there and you know what to do. I'm very happy for you. But in this way, you can ask questions. It is not about getting the best answers. It's about asking the best questions, which invite the answers to come to you. So if I, for instance, would go to my analysis app and I would ask, okay, I have a back pain here. Where can I find my primary dysfunction? Okay, primary dysfunction. What is the foundation behind this issue? Then you're going to scan. And you see, for instance, in the meridians, you see 5 frequency upcoming, but you focus on the first 3. It is not the top one always. Most people think, right? They scan, oh, I choose the top frequency and I go to the Pink app and I run that program. No, it's a little bit more complicated and diverse. The Healy only goes for the highest resonant things, but it's not the primary dysfunction of things. So in that sense, with the question, what is my primary dysfunctions? You will look at your analysis results. And if you do it from that perspective, I think, and I'm sure, you will be much more effective in treating yourself and building off the layers. Because in this way, you can set an intention and a goal for the next 3 weeks. You can literally pick the programs for microcurrent use, Pink app use, on what to use for the next 3 weeks to target that issue. And then when you analyze, you can always ask like, okay, which of these frequencies is the real deal for me right now? So you take a lot of the confusion away, because that's most of the questions I get. It's really people don't know how to use it. They're not holistic professional practitioners. So, you know, they need to catch up on a lot of homework, so to say. I think this is the easiest way to get somewhere. Makes sense?
Yeah, that's good. And, you know, I recently heard somebody talk about like camping out. Like if you have something that you're working on, instead of being all over the place, you know, kind of camping out at that, like you said, for the 3 weeks, like really work on that.
Camping out. What is that?
Like staying there. Oh, okay. like focusing on that, on one, say there's something that you want to work on. Maybe it's in your physical health or spiritual, whatever that is. And you focus on that for a week and you really stay in that arena.
Yeah, so that's a great thing about Healy. It's not a quick fix, actually. The people who have that quick fix experience of where they're completely, immediately alleviated of their symptom that they're struggling with in the moment, currently, that's great news. But it's not the real Healy work. The long-term use, it's what it's about, and long-term also means rather apply a program 3 times in a row, 3 days, right? Or 5 times per week, that you're really working on a theme, and all the frequencies in that program will eventually be exposed to you, or most of it. Because if you know how the Healy programs work, you know that after the 5th application, even after the 10th, you haven't felt or seen all the frequencies that are in that program. So there's still so much to get.
Wait, can you explain that a little bit more? Like, is that because as people, as your body absorbs it, or what is that? Like, what do you mean by that?
I'll show you.
Okay.
I'm going to share my screen now with you guys. And you will see my time waiver. So this is the time waiver system. It works the same like Healy, you could say, but it's just more sophisticated, and you can modify everything. So here I have my clients list with all my ladies, all my friends and family. Here are all my databases. For instance, these are all the frequencies of Nuno Nina. As I said, categorized in pathologies. So this is what, if you want to work with time waiver, you need to have knowledge about what type of pathologies are out there. Otherwise, you will see a lot of strange names. Like, do you know what alopecia means here? Yeah, it's like when you
The
lose
skin?
hair.
Oh, yeah. That's right. Yeah.
You lose hair. So you see alopecia here has 235 different frequencies. Yeah. Now I can tell you that a Healy program works like this. It doesn't give you all the 235 frequencies. It might just give you the top 3. And it will take 10 minutes for these 3 frequencies to saturate into your body. Just the top 3 out of the 235 that you could get. But then here it comes. The next time that you apply that same program, you will get another top 3 of the 235 until you've eventually have applied the program so many times that you've probably seen all the frequencies. Your body has learned from it. Maybe a couple of frequencies needed to be repeated. But this is what you can expect with some programs. There are many databases, many folders put in there. And you can just see what the possibilities are, right? Here you have arthritis general with 238, but another arthritis, the rheumatoid type, has 139. And I don't know how they program the Healy programs. I just know how to program mine, but they have similarities in how they work. So I hope that makes sense, explaining a little bit.
Yeah, that was awesome. Thank you. That's really helpful. And I know that because I just learned that just a couple weeks ago that when you're running the pink program and at the bottom it says like negative 99% or 65%, is that the saturation of your body?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and the conductivity, they measure it on the conductivity that it's that it has with your body. Yeah.
I love that. Awesome. This is
Right.
so great. You are such a wealth of information. I love this.
Thank you. I love to share this. New share. I'm gonna go to some interesting things I browsed. Okay, let's talk about some optimizations. How can you make sure that the frequencies land in your body well enough? Okay, I think what we're really doing here with frequency work is allowing our bodies and our minds form back to water and the ultimate form of water, which is plasma, but maybe I'll come back to that later. So it's very important. It's quite essential that you drink good water. What is good water? Because there's so much out there. Seriously, it's really a confusing world. I'm just going to show you what I believe is most important, but please follow your intuition, follow your own muscle testing pendulum, whatever it is. I believe that this, what you see here on the screen, it says in the imploder water energizing, is just an example of a water system which brings the vitality back to water, the life back to water. Is there a filter in the system? No. What it does, it brings water back to its most primal frequency that connects it straight back to source. And what happens then is something magic, and science will never, I think, will never acknowledge, will never agree with. But in a way, the harmful substances in the water just disappear. They just become less harmful, or at least to such an extent that your body doesn't notice the harmful substances in there. They might literally disappear into the void, into the 0 point, because that's what this system does. This imploder water system you could get, they use it also for agricultural purposes. You could also just drink it. Brings its vitality back to the water and just uses the principle of the perfect vortex. Now, because we are water, right? Everything is water, whether it's a bone, a nerve, or a blood, any other tissue. It's a form of water. It's just water with a different viscosity, a density. The bone is still water, but it's the hardest type of water you have in your body. And every structure in your body has the potential to know its way back to its most abundant state, which is plasma. The most ultimate form of water is plasma. And let me show you a picture of what plasma is. Okay, if you have electromagnetism, the perfect marriage between electromagnetism is plasma. And we probably know, you know, the northern lights, right? On the close to the northern hemisphere of the planet, that is plasma fields. You can only see it. We don't have a way to measure it yet. But if you bring an electric current and a magnetic presence next to each other, you have this. I'm gonna zoom in now. You have a very subtle field which almost looks like a sort of a mirror, or sometimes like water. It is transparent. It is almost purplish or violet-like in color, and it's only there to sort of show this is the perfect state of life itself. And the beautiful thing is, this happens in your body every single moment. You have a nerve which distributes electricity. You have next to it always an artery which distributes blood, which is magnetic. And between it, what do you have? Fascia, which is the physical expression of plasma. And this is what we do it for, ladies and gentlemen. We are here to heal the light network, the plasma light network in our body, which is plasma. The Healy works on you through your nervous system. You improve the electricity distribution, not just electricity, but a high quality of it. Always healthy. You cannot go wrong with Healy. In that sense, your magnetic field will also be amplified. You will feel more calm in the end. You should feel more calm. You should feel more rested. If you use too much, you will feel agitated. If you use too much electricity, there will be distortions in the field. And I believe this is the work and the mystery we are here to solve with us all. But this is just a little glimpse I wanted to give you into the future of frequency, because this will be the future, plasma technologies.
Awesome.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it's amazing. Thank you. This is really great.
Okay. Then let's go on to the next one. This is the spine, the spinal cord. And even in my time waiver frequency, I have something that's called the spinal treatment module. This is unique to time waiver. The only, and also to Healy, the only frequency devices that are maybe allowed to be applied close to the spine. This speaks for itself. I choose a vertebrae, and it says what this vertebrae is associated with a area of your body, with an organ maybe. And you just place your adhesive electrodes on one level of the spine, maybe 4 to 6 centimeters apart from each other. And you apply a program. This could be, you could choose, for instance, vertebra T4, which is your gallbladder. You grab the gallbladder program of your Pink Healy app, and you just apply that program, and the frequencies will enter that organ system much more specifically. That's the hypothesis. But I created a spinal treatment program. I hope you've seen it on my website. It is the exact copy of what I have here on my time waiver. So it is approved in its use. And why is the spine so important to treat? Because this is not to really focus on the ailments that a spine can have, that, you know, you have a fracture in your spine and you use the spinal treatment program and it will solve it. No, it's treating the body and its parts through the spine. And so when you work with Healy, there's one important thing, one essential thing we should not forget. It is really to move the spine. It is important to move. Some say it's important to ground, right? Put your feet on the floor, not just drink your good water, but also put your feet on the floor. I would say yes, but what is you can add so much more value if the spine, where the whole central nervous system, everything comes together, if you move it, oscillate it, right? I do spinal movements every day. It looks very silly in the gym. I'm going to show you right now, so please don't laugh. But if I would have a wall here, I would just bring my chin first, my chest second, my abdomen next, and then this is how I make complete spinal movement. I could also do it on the side, of course, right? This. I can also make circles. And from a movement perspective, this increases your coordination, which is great. But from a Healy perspective, I think this adds value to how the frequencies and the electricity are distributed through your nervous system. Yeah, eventually you can handle a lot more. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's really awesome. I am going to start working on that. And I was just thinking of some of our practitioners too. Like I know Shanna's on, she's a chiropractor. I mean, just ways that they could use this kind of use that with their patients and actually help them even more than they already are. So
yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So some final things before let's talk about some programs. Is that a good one?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So you can see my screen. We're back in the time waiver system. This is where I create all my programs, where I write them. And I like to take time writing programs. I'm the type of guy who's a perfectionist and doesn't like to launch things before I'm really sure that it's working, that I'm hitting the spot. Do you know that with Healy you can you can create your own frequencies, right? You know the work of John Scaevola. You can integrate, sort of download supplements into your Healy and have it in the information field and just apply it to yourself whenever you want. Through the Blue app, just information field. Okay, the benefit that I have with my time waiver frequency is that I can do the same thing, but I can make a microcurrent frequency out of it. So I can connect it to an electrical charge. Okay, that is something interesting and something very different, is where you could download any information of any supplement. Let's say vitamin C, let's say a probiotic, let's say any mineral, any plant, any herb. But you cannot do that for the microcurrent frequency if you want to create that. With the microcurrent frequencies, you want to look at one specific particle, and you're very limited to that. So for instance, what is a single unit that you could work with? It's like one mineral, for instance, magnesium. Makes sense. You could one amino acid, right? It's just basically one molecule. What else do we have, especially when I look at my nourishment protocol? Yeah, so, and any like a neurotransmitter. Here I create a program with all amino acids and neurotransmitters. This I could connect to a microcurrent frequency, but to get there was a whole journey. Now, this is the great thing about frequency work. What we're doing, right? I said we are in the range of electromagnetism, which is actually the same as sound and light. So you could say that we humans, we're not just bags or jellyfish with water. We are also sound instruments, and we can tune ourselves. And what the Healy can do for you, and what it should do, is sort of you want to hit a nice chord, and that chord will give you the most awesome day ever, right? And you try to find that program that hits that chord and that tunes you right to that frequency that you like. That is the sound healing that we're actually doing here to ourselves. On the other hand, we're also electricity centers. We are electrical generators, and we need to improve the quality of our electricity that runs through our nerves, where many, especially with people who are sick, some nerves are sort of blocked, they're clogged, they're either stuck, they're not distributing electricity well, or they're overstimulated, right? We want to improve the electricity. So sound and light, okay? Imagine that if you have everything in the universe's frequency also means that everything is music. We are a sheet of music, and Healy provides frequencies of between 0 and 2 million hertz. It's able to do that. Above that, it doesn't reach. Where do you find most of these hertz for the physical body? It's just the first 1,000 hertz. So these are the low frequencies, you could say. And it's not much. The first 1,000 hertz. The moment you go above that, you have more. You have more of an emotional, mental levels. It gets more etheric, airy, way too subtle to feel. Like even I can hardly feel these frequencies. Yeah, they're more emotional. So now what if you go to the very high frequencies, right? And I'm talking, let's take some noble metals here. What about gold, platina, silver, copper, iron? These are minerals to us humans. You can buy colloidals. They are very healthy for your system. But what if I want to integrate these particles into a microcurrent frequency? Well, you know, in music, with one frequency or one octave, you also have a lower octave of that. And below that, you also have a lower octave of that. So what I figured out is where gold is way too high of a frequency for the Healy to play or for the time waver to integrate. I asked for a lower octave, and that's where a whole world for me opened. Like, I'm going to show you here the probiotics. Wait, this is the screen. Okay, this is a probiotic strain. How does it look like? It looks like a almost like a pill or tablet. This is the shape of that probiotic. This shape means it knows one frequency because it needs that electrical charge to hold that shape and to have that function. So for me to ask this probiotic strain, what is your frequency? It can just simply show me. And when I know that frequency, I can make it into a electrical current. And that is where I think the most effective use of nutrients is, and where the body cannot but to accept the nutrients and to apply it to the overall health, where you could take vitamin C, Dawn, but your body wouldn't be able to absorb it. What about if that frequency comes in, right? They've already mentioned this in the Healy groups, that this is the best form of nutrients. But also now I know as a time waver practitioner how to create them. And so from now on, I'm just I'm working on a new program, and I hope it comes out in a few weeks. It's called Probiotic Youthing. I'm going to integrate all the most important probiotics out there, and I'm going to find all the frequencies and all the other nutrients you would need to have a youthing effect, to fight those wrinkles, to also have that essential vitality when you were young, to maybe restore some structures in the kidneys, to have the best remedy for chronic fatigue. I don't know. there's a lot of potential there. I'm very excited just to share this, but maybe in a few weeks I will say, sorry guys, it's not possible.
That's amazing. I love that. I'm a colon hydrotherapist in many things I do, but probiotics is a really big deal. And I know a lot of people have
Big deal.
issues, you know,
Yeah.
and there's different bodies who, you know, different gut systems who don't want certain probiotics over others. And I've been talking this conversation around this, you know, digital nutrition and all these things of how we don't actually have to now, our body just gets to absorb those frequencies without having to actually have it go through the body in the way that normally it can be rejected, right?
Yeah.
So that's amazing. God, this is so fascinating. I love the work you're doing, DJ. This is awesome.
Thank you.
One person in particular had a question for you. Can I let her ask that?
Yeah, please do.
Okay, Karen, I know you wanted to ask a question around prostate. So feel free.
Yeah, a dear friend of mine who has a Healy and has just recently got it, has some prostate issues.
Yeah.
And not sure if it's what's called the old man's prostate or if it's just the advanced prostate that's going to continue growing prostate cancer. So I'm wondering, is it best to go into the search and run the individualized microcurrent frequency programs there in the Pink app, or is it best to customize programs for that?
Good one. So remotely, what I feel right now for
Yeah, and I believe he's 73 years old. I'm not 100% sure, but I think that's his age.
Yeah.
And by the way, he takes very good care of himself. He does Pilates, he eats all the greens, he does all the right stuff. He's totally athletic, he's buff. You know, he's not an old man, quote unquote.
Good. So then my question is, why doesn't that heal? Why doesn't the body fix itself? What is the primary dysfunction here we should look at? For his age, right, because he's old, there might be some programs, microcurrent in the Pink Healy app, interesting for him. I definitely would think that it's good to target it with just one therapist program, right? I prefer to help people with just one program, and then I give advice around it. But at the same time, with his age, he should. It's always with the pelvic region, you know. It's not just the prostate. There's more happening there. So that's why maybe I would do a scan with him first. Maybe he would go also to an osteopath to see what around is happening. Because there are more structures at hand and at play there, that if I know that for certain, and you could already maybe see it with your Healy resonance. Check his meridians, for instance, and his psyche, the new database that we have, the creative homeopathy, which is it's amazing, guys. This is a next step in Healy, where we finally have a bridge for the psycho-emotional body, which is very well treated with Bach flowers. But it's never enough. This created homeopathy, I think, is going to rock the lives of so many people out there if they use it wisely. So that's my advice for now. Feel free to send me an email, and I will see what I can do, and I hope to be specific.
Thank you.
Hey, so Lynn, I know that you had a couple questions as well. Do we have a couple more minutes, DJ?
Yeah, feel free.
Okay.
Do anytime.
Yeah. Hi, DJ.
Hi.
Your story, first of all, that was incredible, and it's amazing, you know, where it's brought you. So I appreciate you sharing everything you're sharing. And I also wanted to comment on your exercises and just state they do really well on the dance floor. You know, I thought that was really
ecstatic dance, especially, I would say. There's everything's allowed.
Yeah. But really, I do have quite a few questions. So I was wondering, instead of taking up anybody else's time, if you willing to offer consultations or anything like that as a practitioner, where I could at least reach out to you and schedule like a half hour, an hour of your time and go through quite a few of the questions that I have.
Please do.
Yeah,
Please
so
do.
if you could provide that maybe, or Dawn, if you could provide that, that would be great. That way I can free up some time for other people to ask questions. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Okay, great. I'll put my email address in the chat and feel free to email me.
Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah. Is there any, Lynn, is there any question that you think you have that anybody in the group would really benefit from? Because I really do believe that some of our questions we all, and if not, that's okay. I know other people do have questions, but just, I didn't want you to not be able to ask a question.
No, I appreciate that. And a lot of my questions are actually pretty relevant to my own individual practice. But I will say there is one question that I think might be relevant too, just in the remote use of the Healy, and specific to, it's easier to identify when you see swelling go down as far as a timeline on how you work with a client, right? So you can actually see physically the swelling has gone down and you've addressed that issue. But when there's underlying stressors or underlying imbalances, how do you know the time frame for the application?
Sorry, the time frame for the application. Do you mean to set the time of vibratory application in the blue
No,
app?
meaning whether it's a week or it's 2 weeks, if there's specific underlying imbalances, or do you just address the blue analysis, like use the blue dot as an analysis daily? I don't know if I'm using.
I'm trying to get your question correctly. It's a very good question, though. So that you're able to sort of predict what the recovery time is after application, or?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's very hard to say, because, especially of all the factors that are around. For instance, with swelling, for lymph to move again, for the venous blood drainage to go from that place, you could say that happens relatively quick. The good results on that. But when you have a nervous disorder, right, like tinnitus, it's so hard to predict. And for some people it works, for some people it doesn't. This is even in the range of microcurrent, but some things are just very unpredictable, and it's really up to us as holistic practitioners, and just like you, is to sort of to get a feel of it, to learn how to estimate it, to see what factors come at play, and to find the primary dysfunction. Because we could look at the symptom at what is going on, but when you tackled the core issue, the cause, and you see, okay, basically all moves around there. You start there, you can already say it takes at least 2 weeks to recover for this, and then the next step comes. So by the time we're at the final result that we want to have, at least a month. That's always actually where I start off with.
Okay.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Long term.
Michelle, I know you had a question as well. Would you like to ask?
Yes, hi. So my question, in my practice, what we've been discovering is that a lot of people have underlying gut issues that permeate or make all the other chronic issues hard to resolve. And a big cause of that has been glyphosate, the pesticide glyphosate. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, great. So it creates permeability in the gut lining. It also damages enzymes in the body, as well as just destroying the gut bacteria. So in approaching something like that, obviously, you know, there's the repair of the intestinal lining, but then there's also potentially detox from that chemical at the same time, and then maybe restoring amino acids and enzymes that it destroys, that also help our bodies, you know, deal with viruses and other things. How would you go about approaching that sort of underlying thing? Would that be something that you would address first before going after other chronic issues, knowing that that might, you know, help like raise the overall potential of the body to heal? And what programs would you do to address those specific issues? So
Yeah, it's that's a beautiful example, and it's like the Epstein-Barr virus.
mhm,
Do you know how many chronic ailments are caused by just this virus? And then it's also hard to get rid of.
yeah,
I
my daughter,
know yeah, I have a program for it, but the moment I find out that a person is struggling with this virus, that is the first thing, absolutely the first thing I want to cover. And so this glyphosate, I can tell you that not all people respond that badly to the protein. So I think there is something much more essential in improving the mucous membranes. And I'm sorry, I only have the Dutch word now in my mind of what the actual, but it's the membranes, the mucus, the saliva that respond and then see it as an allergen and create inflammation. To improve that function might be more important than glyphosate. And on the other hand, why not do both?
mhm,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's actually a
glyphosate is-
question I like to put out there, right? It's not a definite answer.
right.
What does improving that mucous membrane tissue quality, what does it mean for the overall response to glyphosate?
Yeah, glyphosate, just to clarify, is the pesticide, is the toxin. Yeah, not okay. Yeah. Okay, thank you. And it's interesting you brought up Epstein-Barr, because my daughter's having a relapse of her mono that she got 2 months ago right now. So,
Yeah.
so is there a program that addresses that specifically in the Healy? I just got my Healy a week ago, or
It's my program.
a year
And
program.
and for your information, if you guys want a program, I'll give you a good price. I'll give you a 20% off. I'm happy to help.
Okay,
Even if people come to me and they hardly have a penny to spend, I even do charities. You know, I rather have people helped and get healthy with at least trying frequencies.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay, thank you.
Wow, awesome. Lauren, did you want to ask specifically? I know you had a specific question around you. Otherwise, I can help you with it later but if you're still on here, Lauren.
Oh, hi. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so I just noticed, I've been paying attention to okay. So I've noticed that when I'm hooked up with the wrist electrodes, I get a much quicker reading when I'm running on a peak program, for example, and I'm doing like a 55-minute or 60-minute program. I'll notice it'll take about 5 minutes before I start getting a reading, but I do have the dry skin, so I notice the circle goes black, which means I'm disconnected, and then it goes back white, which means it's reconnecting. So I'm always paying attention to how quickly the frequencies are getting into my system. But what I was just curious to know, when I just wear it and I don't use the electrodes on my wrists, it's not happening as quickly, or it doesn't read at all. And
yeah. So what do you mean with the reading?
So I was gonna say, I just asked her that same question. What she means by reading is that saturation percentage that we're talking about at the bottom of the body, saturating the frequencies.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So when you do not see a percentage, right?
Yes.
When you do not see anything at the bottom, it means you're in a real-time phase. I hope you, this is something technical, but maybe you've heard real-time phase, resonance phase, indications phase. Only in the indication phase and the resonance phase, you will see the percentages, and the Healy will try to saturate these frequencies, the top most resonance frequencies. When you do not see that percentage, it means it's real time. It's more of a randomized frequency stimulation, and it's meant to treat everything. It is just every 10 seconds it changes, and so you know that's yeah.
Okay, so even though I don't see a percentage, then I shouldn't be concerned.
No.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Good
Awesome.
question.
All right, well, I want to just we've been on here a little while, and I just thank you for spending this time with us, DJ. This has been like my favorite. You're my favorite person that I've talked to so far. You've been amazing. And
Oh, thank you so much, love.
and your passion for this and your creativity in this and just your heart, I just really appreciate that. And I know everybody on here, and if everybody wants to unmute and give DJ some love for coming on with us, and that would be amazing. And I recorded this, DJ. I'll send you the recording in case you want to use it as well. You are a really great wealth of knowledge and an amazing presenter. So thank you. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks, DJ. That was amazing.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
Thank you
much.
so much.
Awesome.
Good stuff.
Thank you.
And hey, you guys, I know we sent you the email 2 weeks ago with DJ's website on there. It's the schooloffrequency.com. I love his programs. If there's any other, we have an amazing amount of programs in the Healy already, but I love his creativity, where he's going and really bringing value to what our needs are, even outside of what we have in the Healy. So I encourage you to go to his website and check it out. And thanks, DJ, for offering up, the support that you're offering to all of us and everybody. So thank you.
Yeah, beautiful. And if you guys have any questions, of course, or you need any advice,